You are listening to Unified Through Chronic and Mental Illness with your hosts, Angie Roberts and Kimberly Murphy. Please be advised that some of the topics of this podcast can be triggering and sensitive in nature.
Survey finds 31% of Americans have been bullied as an adult.
Hey Spoonies, mental health warriors, friends and supporters. Welcome to another episode of Unified. I'm Kimberly Murphy here with Angie Roberts.
Hey y'all.
And we have an awesome guest host, Julie Shimkus. You may remember her from our motherhood and mental illness episode, which was actually back in season 1, episode 5. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, Julie.
There she is. And today we are talking about bullying. And you guys, I don't think the timing could be any better to talk about this. I don't know if you heard about the story. It was about 10 days ago, so a couple weekends back. A 10-year-old girl out of Utah who was African American, lived and had autism, died by suicide on November 6th. And her mother, Brittany, they used to call her Izzy, the little girl. Her name's Isabel, and they called her Izzy. She said that she was bullied in Foxborough Elementary School. They had numerous complaints. Nothing was ever changing. The kids were bullying her for her race and as well as being autistic. And her mom said she was an easy target, especially after a teacher joined in mocking this young lady, as any parent would. We reported this issue to her teachers, the school administration, and the district administration. Nothing was done to protect Izzy. Children did not have their behavior corrected. So the torment of this child continued day after day. Now, listen to what the school had to say, and then we can talk about this a little bit, okay? Listen to this. This is going to upset you. The school has to say, we take all incidences and reports of bullying seriously. At this time, the incident we are aware of involved one other student. The teacher and administration responded quickly and appropriately. As with all allegations of bullying, our investigation will continue. The school district is under federal scrutiny after a Department of Justice investigation revealed that serious and widespread racial harassment in its school by students, but also some staff, has been prevalent. Like, it's been horrible in their school system. Now, this just happened 10 days ago.
Yeah.
We're not talking, so bullying is still so prominent in our schools. And what really infuriates me about this story is the staff was part of the bullying.
That is seriously the saddest part.
It is because I think
they know better.
Right. And they were picking on her with the students. There was one incident that they did talk about where the kids were picking on her and mocking her. And then the teachers, basically, one of the teachers had chimed in mocking her.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I got to say, I was in a situation like that as a kid where a couple girls were teasing me and the teacher started laughing and thought it was funny rather than stepping up and saying, hey, don't do that. So when you're a child, you feel like you're being victimized, even if they don't say anything, but they're aware of what's going on.
Exactly.
Right. Now, what was your experience, Angie? Because I know you had some stuff going on in school too.
I had a lot of bullying stuff going on in school. I was bullied throughout the whole school, like
your whole school
time
career.
I was in school.
Right.
Right. The whole time I was in school, college, all that stuff.
Wow.
So
okay. So we have
it was really hard. Yeah, I have a lot to talk about coming up. So stopbullying.gov says bullying is unwanted aggressive behavior among school-aged children that involves real or perceived power imbalance. So to be called bullying, there's 3 things that have to happen. First of all, you must be aggressive. And then it should include an imbalance of power, physical strength, access to embarrassing info to control or harm others. That's the imbalance of power.
Right.
And repetition.
So that would be the difference between an assault versus constant bullying, or
I would think so, yes.
Right. Like just they're saying like one incident versus over time.
Right. And we're just
Mhm.
talking about school bullying when we're talking about the school age
Well,
children,
yeah.
of
Well,
course.
I'm talking about my schools.
Oh, goodness, my
That's a
schools
whole
too.
nother podcast. Okay.
Right. And you know what really got me was when I was thinking of the imbalance of power, and I wasn't quite sure about what that meant. And when they said physical strength, that was kind of, I was like, well, of course, but access to embarrassing info to others to
Hmm.
control or to harm them. Oh my gosh, was I ever mean girl
Oh my
like
God.
this?
This was me. This was my issue in school because the girls I hung out with, my mom thought were great because their parents had money, but they unfortunately were also very horrible to each other. Um, and they're called basically relational bullies. So just real quickly, these girls basically, it's usually girls, first of all. They tend to use relational aggression, especially between the fifth and eighth grades. And they're basically called frenemies. So they'll be like relationally aggressive towards each other using their social standing instead. And that's how
Mm,
they control each other, or they'll use secrets against each other.
right.
So they'll be like, gossip, like she said this about you, and then the whole group would just like basically take that person and act like they don't exist for a couple days. And then, of course, they forget about it and they do it to somebody else. And it's really bad when it's your own friends doing it to you. That's really hard.
Right. Or, the embarrassing, like your secrets that you have told your friends.
Mhm.
And
Right.
then, and that happened to me. Um, Something really bad had happened to me, and I told one of my friends, and I kind of don't want to go into too much of it, but they ended up asking the person and then telling other people, and it was like, really, this is what's supposed to stay between us, and it's such a big, it's so embarrassing, and
Hmm.
it's such a big letdown for you. You're so disappointed in that person, and you don't know how to act when you're at that age.
Yeah,
So,
at that age, you're not really sure how to handle that kind of rejection and betrayal.
right.
Hmm.
Julie, do you know anything about this mean girl stuff?
I am sorry to say, but I was a mean girl. Yeah, but mine was more of like a power trip because I had the mean boyfriend. So
Wow.
he was like the big man on campus.
Hmm.
So I was, I don't know what you would call that. So I was the mean
You're
girl on campus because I had the mean boyfriend on campus. So
Right. The imbalance of power again. It's
Yeah.
just the status of having and we don't know what to do with that when we're young. So we're going to talk about actually how the bullies get to be bullies. So that'll
Hmm.
be interesting here in a little while.
So, what are the types of bullying? Why don't we go over? Because I know there's different kinds. Like
There
I
are
was talking
actually,
about relational bullying. What else is there?
yeah, there's actually a few types. Verbal, of course, saying or writing mean things such as teasing, name calling, inappropriate sexual comments,
Hmm.
which can go on to lead to sexual harassment, taunting, threatening to cause harm to others. So
Yep.
that's verbal.
Hmm.
Then we have social bullying, hurting someone's reputation or relationships,
yep,
Yep.
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 such as leaving someone out on purpose, telling other children not to be friends with someone, spreading rumors, embarrassing someone in public,
Hmm.
Yep.
physically bullying, hurting someone or their possessions, such as hitting, kicking, pinching, spitting, tripping, pushing,
Hmm.
uh, taking or breaking someone else's things, making mean or rude hand gestures.
Yeah.
So that's the physical bullying
Yeah.
too. So, so you have the three kinds.
Right. And like me and Julie were like, yep, because girls, that's the whole thing,
Oh my goodness.
leaving them out. ruining the reputation, gossiping, saying this girl was with that guy and she's really like, she sleeps with everybody. And nowadays, think about it, we have cell phones for our girls and even our sons, like they're sending back and forth these pictures, and next thing you know, everyone's seen them. It's just horrible, with social media, especially with easy access to each other and all. Could you imagine being bullied online and at school?
No, it would be crazy. I'm so glad that we did not live in that time. I don't know what I would have done.
Right, I know.
So there are effects on bullied kids. They have depression and anxiety, increased feelings of sad and loneliness, lack of interest in activities. These issues, a lot of times, they spill over into adulthood, and they have health complaints. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Decreased academic achievements, and most likely to miss, skip, or drop out of school.
Well, yeah, who wants to be there when this happens?
Right. So when I was in school, when I was in middle school, I was bullied a whole lot. I had a girl before that, I had a girl that had written a note and threatened that he would kill me. And so my mom had taken care of that. But this girl, I hated it when it came time to go to school with this girl. She was a year older than me, but I hated it when it came time for us to meet back in a school together.
Right.
So I was bullied a lot. And when it says health complaints, I got to a point where I would wake up in the mornings and my stomach I wanted to throw up. I hurt so bad. I was having diarrhea. I was having all kinds of icky stuff. Sorry to be gross, but this is just the truth. Every morning. And when my mom said I wouldn't have to go to school, it would stop. And my mom was like, well, you're just, I don't know how you're faking this because but you must be faking this. So she would make me go to school. Well, I would go to school, and by first or second period, I was in the nurse's office because I was sick and nauseated and having diarrhea. So they would send me home from school. And this went on for like 2 months, and I just couldn't get it together. Like, I don't even remember how I got it together. Maybe my mom just made me start going to school. I can't really remember. Sometimes things are a blur, but I didn't know really until I was really reading this that that's what it was. I was being bullied so bad it was causing me health issues. And that's really sad.
It is. It causes a lot of anxiety. Yeah.
Right. And that anxiety in turn causes you to have those issues. So
I think that a lot of the kids too that hang out with the bullies kind of go through some of this, because I remember Zach telling me when he was little, he hung out with a bully, and one day they had kicked this boy. He was laying in the sidewalk and they were kicking him, and my son was kind of standing on the side with these other boys. And I said, how could you do that? What is wrong with you guys? And he said, Mom, if I don't hang out with the bully, he's going to do it to me. And they have just as much anxiety, a lot of these kids. So the bully has a lot of followers that are just really afraid that they're going to be on the other end of it. So I can see that too in those kids.
And that's sad. It's sad that you have to feel that you have to be friends with somebody to not be bullied, and you don't even like the person you're having to be friends with.
Right. It's true. You'd be surprised how many people actually do that in school. It's all about your social standing, really. And that's sad.
It really is. Yeah. And
there's a lot of separate, everyone's in their separate cliques. I'm hoping that it's better now. Is it better now, you guys? Please tell me it's better now.
No, you just read an article that showed it.
I know, but I'm hoping that's like everybody sees those stories, right? And they say that's an extreme case. That doesn't usually happen. It's not true. It does happen. Yeah. It happens all the time, and it's really sad. I just saw another story.
More and more.
Yeah, there was another story about another little girl, which happened recently too. So, I know it's not in every school, but it shouldn't be happening at all.
Right. And there's a really sad stat when I was reading this that 12 of the 15 school shootings caused in the 1990s, the shooters had a history of being bullied. 12 of the 15 people.
Yep. Yep.
So it's a real interesting statistic to me. I was just like, wow, that's crazy. Hey, Julie, how you doing over there?
I'm doing pretty good. This is some pretty information, good stuff, but at the same time, it's so sad and really eye-opening.
It is. Do your kids get bullied in school at all?
Well, my daughter, even though she's just 6 and in kindergarten, you would think that wouldn't be happening right now, but it is.
Aww.
And it's more, I know. It's more over body image because she's a little thing and she's petite, but damn, she's so smart. And so she's getting it from both ends. She's getting it from being smart, and then she's getting it because of her body image, because she's petite and she's got small muscles and she's got small feet, and it's just starting, and it hurts because I didn't think about any of this till at least, Mean Girl middle school.
Right.
And it hurts as a mom to see that so young, and she is so emotional and so empath that it hurts her, and it shouldn't be. This should be the time. This should be the time when everything should be good, But
yeah, it is really early for that to start, and I wonder if this is the new trend. I hope not.
Is this just in school or public or?
With her, it's at school. Now, if we start doing it public, that's a whole different story. My son, he is special needs, and he's going to be turning 9. If you want me to go into that, I can go into that.
Yeah, we can go into about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother ball game. So my son is special needs. He's legally blind and he's non-mobile, but he can walk with assistance, blah, blah, blah. So he kind of looks at you funny. So, because he can't really see, so he kind of has to tilt his head to look at you. So apparently that bothers a lot of people. So, and he's nonverbal. So when he talks kind of different, and he kind of is loud sometimes, but we understand what he's doing, but other people don't. So we will get comments of like, oh, this is hard to talk about. Why didn't you keep him at home? Why is he, why is he out? Why did you keep him at home? Why don't you keep him quiet? Just ignorance tends to come out when he's out. And what kills me the most is he knows what people are saying to him and to us.
Right.
He knows. And just because he's not verbally, in his way, he's verbally expressing it, but it's just, and then it also comes and reflects on us. And we live in a Bible Belt state in Arkansas. And so, yeah, Angie knows.
I'm from there.
So we even get the comments that we are not good parents. We're not worthy to be parents to him.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And we didn't do anything wrong. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, because it's the Bible Belt, they've have they hit you with the whole demon thing yet?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's all been there.
If you prayed enough, it wouldn't happen, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that, he shouldn't be alive. He shouldn't be, he's the demon. Yeah. All of it. And
that sucks. Oh, that makes me so mad and sad at the same time. I just, why do people do this?
I have a serious question. Like, from a mom to a mom, how do you not lose your total shit on this? Because I would be, excuse my language, y'all, but
I would be too.
I would lose my shit. How do you keep it Obviously, you're not in jail every other day, so you have to be keeping it cool.
Because I have to remind myself that a lot of like 90% of the people that come and make these comments to us are ignorant.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're just uneducated and they're ignorant. And I don't really waste my time, and I just kind of like laugh it off and, think in my head, what a fucking dumbass. Sorry.
Right.
What a dumbass, and that's all I can do. But then there's the positive side of it when people, even though they come, oh, bless your heart, you have those people that they're the double-edged sword of it, but then they want to ask questions. Those are, even though they come with that attitude, they ask questions. And yes, sometimes they're a little blasé about what they're saying, but then when they come to me and they want to be educated about Alan and they want to know what's wrong, and then they walk away with some type of knowledge that, hey, even though he is this way, he's awesome, then I've done my job. Do you see what I'm saying? But when it's those negative people that come and say, oh my God, he's retarded, or, oh, he's just, why is he even out in public? Those are the people I don't want to waste my time with. And they'll say their snarky remarks and then be done with it. And it's like, I hope you had a good day. I hope what you said is great and it made you feel better. I'm just glad you didn't, I don't know. I know where you're going to go one day. So,
I'm glad it makes you feel better to bully my child.
I don't understand this at all. Like, I don't understand any adults out there who have any part of themselves that says it's okay to treat another person like this. Like, shame on you. Seriously. Like, I want you to show yourself.
Show yourselves right
now.
now.
I'm so mad that this happens though. And kids do it to each other. That's kind of understandable a little bit, but when an adult does it to a child, oh my gosh.
And let me tell you, a lot of times it's adults with their kids that are doing it.
So you teaching your kids how to bully.
Right.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
And so I just look and I'm just like, I kind of not crusade, but I'm an advocate for this kind of stuff. And I want to teach people these stuff, but sometimes I feel defeated because of what I see. And sometimes I overhear it because they're doing it under their breath, but that's still, to me, it's still kind of bullying because they're teaching their kids how to do it. Because and it's just an overflow of it. And because I know a year or two from now, that kid's going to be bullying some other disabled kid somewhere, sometime.
Teaching all their friends to do it. This spreads really quickly. Yeah.
Yes. So but I have to keep fighting because I know that one day, it'll change. Alan has a great support system. And so I am grateful for that. And so that's what does keep me going. So
right. That's what holds your shit together.
Yeah. And you're an awesome mom, Julie. You are so good.
Well, so are you ladies too. You guys are look at what you're doing. You're doing this huge change. I mean, that's how it starts.
So I found it interesting as I was researching is why bullies bully. And Julie, you said that you did a little bullying. Do you want to tell us why, or do you know why?
Well, mine was all pretty much in high school, and I dated like the head honcho in high school. And so when there was rumors around that he was sleeping with this girl or sleeping with that girl, or he actually was in real life, I had to keep up my reputation of being, the top girl. And I would go and start rumors about her. Oh, forgot to mention that I was in a abusive relationship, physically and mentally. And yes,
this is sad. Yeah.
And he was such a great guy to begin with. And
right.
So I had to keep up the reputation of being, the bad girl at school, mean girl, whatever. And so I would, do the cutthroat things like beat him up, start rumors about him, about that particular girl. Trash their lockers, cut their books up. What else?
Wow. Yeah.
I would send other girls to beat them up. I would send other girls, my little minions, to go do anything, trash their cars, right? Back then we would pass notes to say other stuff. I would go and mess around with their boyfriends. I would.
Yeah. So this is pretty heavy duty stuff, but you were being
Yeah.
driven by this abusive relationship.
Oh yeah, because it was
And
all
it
part
seems
of
like
his
peer pressure too.
Mhm.
Oh, it was all because he wanted to manipulate it. And then some of the times it wasn't even true. And he just thought it would just be a fun game to do, just to see me go be emotional and crazy. And I would cry to him and be like, why did you do these things? Why are you so mean? And he would just laugh. He was so manipulative and so mentally and physically abused. And I stayed with that guy, that douchebag, for like 6 years.
Oh,
It was
wow.
horrible. It was horrible, you guys. And I am so glad that I got out of that relationship. And I was young. I was dumb. I got married to him when I was 18. It was horrible. And I am so glad that I got out of that relationship, because it probably would have gone way bad. And do I feel stupid for doing that? Oh, yes. But I think I would have been more worse off had I continued it and gone down that dark path, where he was leading me.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. But
I think that's helpful for people to hear, because some people might say, oh, they might think about the bully and think, deeper into it and be like, there might be reasons that they're doing this. Not that it makes it okay, but sometimes it helps to know.
It makes sense. As we go through these lists, there's a few peer factors, family factors, emotional factors, school factors of why kids bully. And some of it I really see in Julie's story, like peer factors to show allegiance. She was showing allegiance to him, and for control. She's trying to control herself. This is where she needs to be. Family factors can be why bullies bully. Some of them come from homes with aggression at home from their parents or their caretakers. They have lack of emotional support or low parental guidance.
Yeah, they're like out there on their own with nobody.
Right, they don't
nobody
know what
caring.
To do.
Yeah,
nobody is. Can you imagine just
being bullied by your father or mother, and being out all hours and nobody cares, like that kind of stuff. Yeah,
that's sad.
And can I squeeze in that I came from a wonderful home, so it can just happen to anybody.
So there are effects on kids who bully. They have abused alcohol and other drugs in adolescence and in adulthood. So some of them are alcoholics and drug addicts.
Which is sad too, because they say if you are an alcoholic or you drink all the time, you stop maturing at the age you start drinking. So now you have a 15-year-old father who's really 30 and abusing, or at least bullying, his child.
Right. Yeah. Yes. A lot of them drop out of school. They have high criminal convictions, and they're more likely to be abusers in adulthood.
Which makes sense, because if you can make that mental leap and bully to that extent all your life, why wouldn't you grow up to be more aggressive? You're learning how to be aggressive. So, yeah.
And that's what Julie experienced. I feel the abuser, he became an abuser.
Hurt people. It's as simple as that. So, Angie, what is the mantra for this week?
Bullying is not a reflection of the victim's character, but rather a sign of the bully's lack of character.
Oh, that's good.
It is good.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard to remember that when you're the one being bullied. I really do love that mantra, because it does say it all. We hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. And if you did get something out of it, please like, share, follow, subscribe, share. All of our social media information will be announced in just a moment. Please join us next week for a brand new episode. You don't want to miss it. Until then, thank you for listening. And please remember that we are stronger together.
Mask up. Peace out, guys.
Thanks for being here, Julie.
Thank you for having me.
Unified Through Chronic and Mental Illness can be found at anchor.fm/unified. There you can find all social media links as well as other ways to listen.